Hello, hello, hello. I am the Linux Mensch. Today, I'm going to talk about Qtile. Now, it's been a year and a half since I made a video about Qtile, and for several years, I've been running the awesome window manager as my daily driver in my main production computer, but I have been running Qtile in an old computer that I don't use for making videos. So recently, I switched to the Qtile where I'm using Qtile now as my daily driver in my main production computer, and I've made changes to the configuration file. So today, I'm going to talk about it. So let's get to it. Right now, I'm in my main production computer, which is running Arch Linux with the Qtile window manager. And mod key enter is going to open up my terminal. I'm just going to do a fast fetch, and you can see I'm in Arch Linux. This computer is a Dell Optiplex 7010. I'm in the Qtile window manager. And of course, my terminal is Xterm. So I'm going to shut that. And now what I'm going to do is, today I'm not going to go into a virtual machine. I'm going to film two different computers. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to use my capture card to record what's going on in my Debian computer. So now this is a real bare metal computer where I'm using my capture card to record what's happening in there. And I figured out how to use my camera along with my capture card. So in my previous videos where I've been, for the past few months, I've been using a capture card to record and show you how to do things in another computer. And I've been going through installs in another real bare metal computer. And I couldn't figure out how to make my camera work properly with my capture card. So whenever I was using the capture card to show you what's going on in another computer, my face was turned off. I finally figured out how to use my camera with the capture card. I spent hours trying to figure it out, and actually it was really simple. It was just a simple thing I had to do in OBS to make the camera and the capture card work together, and there you go. So this is my Debian computer, and it's running Qtile. So I'm going to do open up, mod key enter is going to open up my terminal, and I'm going to do a fast fetch now. So this computer is running Debian 13 Trixie. As you can see, I have the Qtile window manager. And of course, my terminal is Xterm. So I'm going to close that. So Shift mod key C closes it. So of course, this is my configuration file. And this is the computer where I did my Debian 13 Trixie install the other day. If you watched my last video, this is the computer I used to install Debian 13. And first thing I'm going to do is open up a terminal, and I did my install on Monday, and today's Friday. So let's see if there's any updates to do. I know I'm going a bit off topic here. Sudo apt update. I put my password in. Oh, and there's one package to upgrade. So let's see what it is. Apt list -- upgradable. Oh, there's a kernel update. It's going to update to the kernel 6.12.41. from 6.12.38. You know what? Let's do the update. Sorry about that. I told you it was going to be about Qtile, and it is. Sorry. Yeah. So let's just do, let's upgrade it. Let's do sudo. Let's just clear the screen. Let's do sudo apt upgrade. Let's hit enter. And let's hit enter again. And we're updating the kernel. And of course, we're going to have to do a reboot. Sorry about that. Bear with me. Oh. That was really fast. Okay, and because it was a kernel update, I'm going to reboot. Let's just clear the screen. Let's type in, oh, and because it's Debian, I had to type in sudo reboot. Sudo reboot. And we are rebooting the computer. And when I went through the install, I encrypted this computer, so I have to type in my encryption password. And as you can see, well, I don't have a display manager or a login manager. And you can see now we're in Debian 13. I'm going to type in my user. I'm going to type in my user as Mensch, and my password is this. And now I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to type in startx. Now we're logged into the Qtile window manager, and our computer is up to date. So now I can get on with my video. And I don't know why the volume control is turned off. Let's turn that on. This is Qtile with my configuration file. Now, if you're in Debian, you're going to just type in sudo apt install Qtile. Now, Qtile was never in the Debian stable repositories. and you had to jump through some hoops to get Qtile installed. But with this version of Debian 13 Trixie, Qtile is in the main Debian repository. So you just do that command, it's going to install Qtile. If you're in Arch Linux, sudo pacman-s Qtile, and you're going to just do it like that. Now, Qtile, by default, it's a very base system, and it's exactly the same by default in Debian or in Arch Linux. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to revert back to the default configuration file. So I'm going to close my terminal. So I'm going to open up PCMan-FM, Control Mod Key P, and I'm going to right click. I'm going to show hidden files or my dot files. I'm going to click on this configuration folder or dot configuration folder. And here's the Qtile folder with my configuration files in it. I'm just going to open it up. So I have an auto start file, Qtile configuration file. And what I'm going to do is go back and I want to revert back to the default Qtile. So I'm going to just rename this Qtile period save. And I'm going to close this and we're going to get out. So shift mod key Q will get you out of Qtile. And now I'm going to type in *x. I'm going to go back in. And now we are in the default Qtile. So this is what Qtile is going to look like when you install it, the first time you log into it, or regardless of whether you're using Arch Linux or Debian. Okay, there's going to be a black screen, no wallpaper, and your status bar is on the bottom. So you're going to have your 9 workspaces here on the bottom, and you're going to have this stuff here. So here's the clock, the date, and the time. It's pretty small. And here it says shut down. So the mouse is going to work for that. So if I click that on, it's not going to shut down your computer. It's just going to log you out of Qtile. And it's going to give you, I think it's a 4-second or a 5-second countdown. So let's click it on. Oh, it gives you a 4-second countdown. See it counting down? And now we've logged out of Qtile. So that shutdown doesn't shut down your computer. It just logs you out of Qtile. Let's go back in. So like I was saying, Qtile, you don't use your mouse. Now you can use the mouse to change workspaces. Okay. And you can use your mouse to log out of Qtile, but you don't use your mouse to open apps. It's all keyboard driven. And they don't have any fast keys for opening up by default. There's no fast keys to open up your apps. You have to make them yourself. But there is a run launcher. So it tells you right here, press M-R to spawn. So that's your run launcher. So M just stands for mod key, which by default is the Windows super key. So if I press the Windows super key or the mod key and the R, it's going to open up my run launcher and see the run launcher down at the bottom. So let's type in Firefox. And there we go. We have Firefox opened. So shift mod key C is going to close it. Oh, no, it's not. So by default, to close an app, it's going to be, well, here you can use your mouse, right? You put it out of there because your mouse works in the apps. Now let's open up another one. Let's go mod key R is going to bring up the run launcher. Let's type in PCMan-FM and let's just hide our files. There you go. So like I said, when you're in an app, you can use your mouse to close the app, or you could do by default, it's mod key or the Windows super key. Mod key W will close your app. And also, I think I already mentioned it. There's, like you can see, there's no wallpaper. It's kind of dark. And let's just open up terminal. It's going to be mod key enter or super key enter is going to open up the terminal. Ooh, sorry about that. So this is Xterm, but in the default Qtile window manager, I don't have the commands in there to make my Xterm look nicer where the background is black and the font is white and large print. I'm just going to leave it like this for now because I'm not going to stay long in here. Let's make this larger. Sorry about that. I hope I'm not blinding you. So let's cd into .config/Qtile/ let's ls it. So now we are in the default Qtile configuration file, and it's right here, config.py. So let's vim into it, vim config.py, and let's just go to the top because I was in here earlier. So this is the configuration file, the default configuration file, and let's just do numbers set nu. Oh, you can hardly see the numbers. Sorry about that. So on line 33, on line 32, you can see the mod key is mod key 4, which is the Windows super key. So if you want the alt key to be mod key, you could just change that to a 1, and that will make your alt key to be the mod key or the super key. Sorry about the numbers. You can hardly see the numbers, but in my configuration file, it's different. So line 70 is programmed, the mod key W is going to close your app, whichever app you happen to be in. And as you can see here, it's called close focused window. Okay. But it really just closes the app that you're in. It's mod key W. But in my configuration file, I changed it to shift mod key C. And the reason why I did that is because that's the way it is by default in the Awesome Window Manager. In line 80, you can see mod key R will spawn or turn on your run launcher so you can type in and call up an app. And in my configuration file, I changed it to mod key P. And the reason why I did that is because that's the way it is in the default, the Awesome Window Manager by default. And just so you know, by the way, when I switched from desktop environments to window managers, the Awesome Window Manager was the first one that I used. So I got used to a lot of their key bindings. So I changed Qtile to make it like that. So Qtile Window Manager is a dynamic tiling window manager. I think it's a dynamic window manager, not a tiling window manager. So like I could open up another terminal. See the way it's opened up? I can open up a third terminal. So I have 3 terminals open up. Or I could close this one. Let's close that. Let's open up Firefox. The mod key R is going to open up Run Launcher. Let's type in Firefox. Let's open up another one. Mod key R is the Run Launcher. So let's do PCMan FM and so forth. So you can see we have Firefox here, my terminal there. And that's the way it works. Now, let's just scan down a bit. So there's all these different layouts. There's only 2 layouts turned on by default. Line 124 is columns and line 125 is max. So those are the only 2 layouts that are turned on by default. You have all these other layouts. You can use more of them if you want, but you have to take the number sign out or the hashtag out to activate the lines. So now we're in max. Now if you click it on again down here, and I know it's hard to see because it's so small. If you click it on, we're back here. So let's say I click on Firefox. Now you can see the focus is following my mouse, right? I'm not even clicking it. So let's say I go here. Now it's hard to do because we don't have gaps. So, but whatever my mouse is on, so, and in my configuration file, it works better. So like here we're on Firefox. If we go down to the bottom bar and move to columns and click on columns, now it's going to make Firefox full screen. And if we hit max again, it's going to bring it back there. And of course we have 9 workspaces. So I can use my mouse to get to another workspace. Now we're on another workspace. We're on workspace 3. And now we're on workspace 9. And I can have something opened up on workspace 9. Let's open up a terminal on workspace 9. Ooh, boy, sorry about that. And I can go back to workspace 6. Okay. And we could make that full screen. I'm not going to show you too much more here, but this is the default. So let's get out of there. Oops. Did I make changes? I don't want to do that. So mod key W is going to close that. Mod key W is going to close that. I'm going to leave that open. I'm going to go to workspace 9 and mod key W is going to close that. And let's go back to workspace 6 where I have my file manager opened up. And so I want you to see what the default, the configuration file looks like. And let's click on show hidden. I'm going to go back to .config. So here we have a Qtile folder, but this Qtile folder is the default one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that. I'm going to move it to trash. Say yes. Then I'm going to go into qtile.save, which is my configuration files. I'm going to rename it. I'm going to take out .save and I'm going to OK it. And mod key W is going to close PCMan FM. Now I could just refresh or restart the window manager, but let's just go back to here. Mod key R is going to open up my run launcher, PCMan FM. Let's go back here. So in my configuration files, I have an auto start file, and I'm going to show you it afterwards. In my auto start file has some things that automatically start up when you open up Qtile. Now, they don't work if you're just refreshing it. So if I'm refreshing Qtile from the default configuration file to my configuration file work. Whatever is in the auto start file will not work unless I actually log out and back in. Okay, so mod key W is going to close that. So here, let's just shut down this way. And remember, this shutdown doesn't shut down your computer. It just logs you out of Qtile. Now, in my configuration file, the bar is going to be at the top. The workspaces and the bottom line and the clock are going to be larger font and more readable. And I'm also changed the format of the clock so it's different. And I got rid of this shutdown thing. That's gone. And I also got rid of this press MR to spawn. That's gone. So anyways, let's shut down. Or I don't know why they call it shutdown. It should say log out. Let's click that on. It has a 4-second countdown. Now we're logged out. Let's just clear the screen. Let's type in start X. So now we're going to log into Qtile with my configuration file. So you can see I have wallpaper. The status bar is on the top. Here's my 9 workspaces. And there's my volume control. And you can see the format of the date is larger and better to read. August 15th, 2025. And also the time is better. My clock is better. And I have seconds on the clock and it shows it's PM. Now, again, the mouse doesn't work for opening apps. So the run launcher, I made mod key P. And I did that because that's the way it is in the Awesome Window Manager by default. And like I said, I used Awesome Window Manager before I started using Qtile, and I got used to the key bindings. So mod key P is going to open up the run launcher. So there it is there at the top. So I could open up Firefox this way. Type in Firefox. There's Firefox. Shift mod key C is going to close it. But I also have key bindings. So Control mod key P is going to open up PCman FM. And so now, like I said, you can also close it this way, right? You can use your mouse to close it. And I have all kinds of key bindings. And before I go there, let's open up a terminal. So mod key enter is going to open up a terminal. So now it has Xterm with the black screen and the nice large print. And it's easier to look at. So because my Zesh configuration file is running, I have a fast key. Let's not go there. So let's do cd.config/qtile/ Let's ls it. So I have all these files in here. And actually, I have some extra files in here. Some other files I was saving and working on. But so first I want to show you my auto start file. So that's my auto start file. Let's vim into it. Vim auto. So now I have wallpaper, but I don't have a wallpaper app. So you can use a wallpaper app like Nitrogen or Fey or any other wallpaper app that you might like to use. Or you can just put the wallpaper inside the configuration file, which I've done. You can see line 4, Nitrogen is there in case you want to use Nitrogen, but it's commented out right now. It's deactivated. And Xrandr is there setting the resolution for when I used to make my videos in virtual machines. I wanted the resolution to be 1360 by 768 for my virtual machines. So again, that's deactivated or it's commented out, but I leave it there. Line 8 is there to enable the theming for my Xterm to work. Line 10 is there so that my screen doesn't turn off when I'm away from my computer. Line 14 is iWheel, it's my mouse and wheel. Line 16 turns on the volume icon. Line 18 turns on my number locks. So my side keypad, my number locks get turned on when I log in. And I used to use XFC Power Manager. I don't use it anymore and I don't have it installed here, so I have it deactivated. So that is the my auto start menu for Qtile. So let's get out of there. Let's clear the screen. Let's ls it again. Now let's log into my configuration file, or let's vim into my configuration file. And let's go to the top. And let's set the numbers, set NU. So my configuration file is free for you to download from my GitLab repository. And the command to download it in the terminal is in the show notes of all my videos. So line 34, I left the mod key as mod 4, or the super key, right? Line 37 is just saying my terminal is Xterm. So you can see on line 139, mod key shift C will kill the focus window. In other words, it will close your app. Okay. Line 142, mod key Control R is going to restart Qtile. So if I make a change in the configuration file and I save the file, it won't show up until I restart Qtile. So you can either log out or you can restart it by mod key Control R. So Control mod key R, did you see it flash? You see this go off and on? Control mod key R, that restarts it. So if I make a change in the configuration file, I have to restart it in order for the change to take effect. Save the file and restart it. Now, if I make it, like I said before, if I make a change in my auto start file, I actually have to log out and back in. Mod key shift Q will log me out of Qtile. So let's close that. Let's close that. So shift mod key Q logs me right out of Qtile. Start X will get me back in. And mod key enter opens up a terminal. Now, I have my Zesh configuration file. I have an alias to get me into the configuration file quickly and easily, and it's Qtile config. It is only going to work for you if you're using my Zesh configuration file. Okay, so that gets me in easily. So like I said, Shift mod key, Shift Q will shut down Qtile if you're using my configuration file. Okay, so like I said, the layouts. So these are the layouts. And oh, I got to get my numbers back in set NU. I turned on a few layouts. So I'm using 4 layouts now. So by default, only 2 layouts are on. And now I'm using 4. So I'm using columns. If you look at line 179, I'm using columns, monad tall. How do you pronounce that? Monad tall. So I'm using columns, monad tall, max, and monad wide. So let's open up. And also, I have gaps in here. And in Qtile, they're not called gaps. And I can't think of the name right now. It escapes me. It has a different name, but really what they are is they're gaps. So I put gaps in here. So I'm going to, now I have a fast key to open up Firefox is mod key F. So, or my super key. So super key F opens up Firefox. So you can see here I have a gap. And you can see the focus changing. And also by default, the border was red. The focus border was red. I changed it to orange because I thought the red was too bright or too striking. Now let's open up something else. So now Control Mod Key P is going to open up PCman FM. So now you see we have, and let's just hide the dot files. Okay, so it looks a little cleaner. So you have PCman FM here. My focus is on Firefox. Now my focus is on my terminal. Now, of course, I can go to another workspace. Let's open up a terminal here. Let's type in Fastfetch. Okay, so we have that there on workspace 5. So let's go back to workspace 1. We have 3 things opened up. So let's say I want this one to be full screen. So what I'm going to do is focus on there, go up here and click that. It's going to change it to Mondo Tall, which is almost the same as columns. Click it again. Now it's on max. If I click it again, now it's on Mondo Wide. And if I click it again, now we're back to columns. Now let's say I want PCman FM to change or to be the main one. So I'm going to focus on here, and you don't have to click it. Now, if you don't like focus, you can change it so that it goes by click. I'm going to put the focus on here, and I'm going to go move my mouse to go right to columns, change it. So now PCman FM is on max. Now we're back to wide, and now we're back to columns. Let's say I want Firefox, so I'm going to put it on here, and it's going to go right around to here, click it on, click it again. Now Firefox is on the max. Let's change it back to columns or Mondo wide. And there's columns. And of course, you can see I have gaps here, right? And it's not called gaps. I can't think of what the word it's called right now. So now I'm going to close. And then, of course, we can go to workspace 5 and have my terminal. Now, I have Fastfetch on workspace 5. So let's say I want to change this one to be on workspace 7. So I'm going to do Shift. I'm going to hold down Shift, mod key, and I'm going to type in 7. So now we're on workspace 7. Let's say I want these to change to workspace 4. Shift, mod key, 4. Oop, I only changed one. Look at that, eh? So it changed the one I was on. So let's say I want to move Firefox to workspace 5. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to go Shift, mod key, 5. Okay, so now we have on workspace 1, we have PCman FM. Workspace 4, we have my configuration file. For Qtile. Workspace 5, we have Firefox. Workspace 7, we have Fastfetch. And then, of course, you can see all the workspaces that are bright white, they have apps that are open. And the workspaces that are faint and dim, they don't have any apps opened up in them. So Shift Mod Key C is going to close that. I can also go to like workspace 5, Mod Key 5 would jump there. Shift Mod Key C will close that. Or I can use my mouse if I want. Workspace 4. Okay, there's the terminal. What's on 1? 1 is PCman FM, and you can also close it this way as well, right? Now let's go on to workspace 4. So let's say I want to move workspace 4 to workspace 1. The Shift Mod Key and use my hand to hit the number 1. And there we are. So if you don't want any of these layouts, like I have 4 layouts turned on right now. Let's open up Firefox. So Mod Key F will open up Firefox, right? I can go like that. Mondo Tall, Max, Wide. And it's not Mondo. Did I call it Mondo? It's Monad Wide. Monad Wide. And back to columns, okay? So I have 4 here. So like by default, 178 is activated. and 181 is activated. And let's just close Firefox. You can close it this way too. So 195, I have the font to sans bold. 196, it's font size 15. You can change the size of the font, and the padding is 3. Line 219 are the settings for my clock, the date and the clock, and that's why the date and the clock looks like that. So you never have to guess, if it's 8-11. Is it August 11 or November 8th? Friday, August 15th. So there's never any confusion over day and month or year. Year is 2025, and the clock has seconds in it and PM. So line 219 is my configuration for the clock. And line 220 was that widget that, when you click it on, it logs you out of Qtile. I have it deactivated. Now line 227 to 233 is my wallpaper. And that's not in there by default. I put that in. And so like I said, you can install Nitrogen, Fay, or some other wallpaper application, or you can just do it this way. Now, the only thing about this way is that you have to type it in exactly the way it is. So you have to be careful. Like, for instance, line 227 and 228 in this computer won't work because the wallpapers are in my home directory. They're not in a folder called wallpaper. So you have to make sure it's directed to exactly where it is, and also has to be spelled exactly. So for instance, right now I'm using the wallpaper dark cyan. So you notice it's not in a wallpaper folder, it's in my home directory. Notice that dark cyan is one word. Notice the D is capitalized and the C is capitalized because that's the name of the wallpaper. So if I put a small d and a small c, it won't work. Okay? So you can, and of course, line 238.2 is stretching the wallpaper. Now, this is the way I like to use it. Now, if you're the type of person who always likes to change your wallpaper and you're switching wallpapers a couple times a day or every day or several times a week, you probably want to use a wallpaper application like Fay or Nitrogen. I find a wallpaper I like and I use it for a year or two. So if you're not changing your wallpaper that often, you can do it this way. And when you do it this way, it's using less RAM because you don't have a wallpaper application running in the background. So line 236 puts the status bar on the top. Now, if you want the status bar to be on the bottom, on line 236, just take out the word top equals bar and type in bottom equals bar, save the file, restart Qtile, or log out of Qtile and go back in. You don't have to log out, you can just restart it, and the bar will be at the bottom. Can we do that? Let's do that. So let's change this. Bottom. Oops, we got to spell it right though. Let's save the file. And Control Mod key R is going to restart it. And it didn't work. Oh, okay. The reason why it didn't work is because I have my two screens set up on my configuration file. Let's change this one. Got to change it twice. Let's save it. Let's do Control Mod key R. And there we are. See, it's at the bottom. Here's my clock. See, the status bar is on the bottom now, okay? So what I've done is, in my configuration file, I have it set for a 2-monitor system. Now, if you download and use my configuration file, and you only have 1 monitor, it's still going to work. So let's change this. So here we have, on line 201, we have screens. So let's change that to top bar, top equals bar. So I have it set up for 2 monitors. And see, line 235 is my second monitor, even though this particular computer is only hooked up to 1 monitor. But my main production computer, the computer I'm doing all my recording in, is hooked up to 2 monitors. So we got to change it here. And actually, let's see, we changed that at the top. Let's see, let's save it. Let's do Shift Mod key R, and it fixed it. Okay. So if you download my configuration file and you're using my configuration file and you only have 1 monitor, you only have to change the first one. So if you're only using 1 monitor and you want to make changes, just change the first one. But you can still use my configuration file the way it is. If you don't like it, you can delete all the stuff for the second screen. Now, the beautiful thing is that about this setup is that you can have a different wallpaper on each monitor if you're using 2 monitors, right? So here's screen 1, top bar. Here's my wallpaper on 229. But on 235 is screen number 2, or monitor number 2. So here for screen number 2, we also have a wallpaper setting. So you can have 1 wallpaper on 1 monitor and another wallpaper on another monitor. So let's scan down. And of course here, line 264 is telling it to stretch the wallpaper. Line 313 to 320 is not there by default. And I put it in there. And what it's doing is it's telling it when I open up Qtile, when I log into Qtile to run my auto start file, which has those apps in there that I want to start automatically every time I log into Qtile. So that's line 313 to line 320. Okay. So you can see on 320, it's saying .config/Qtile/auto start. So it's going to run that auto start file. So if I want another app to start when I open up Qtile, I just have to go into that auto start file and add in the app. Now what I'm going to do is, let's quit. Made changes here. Let's just right quit. And what I'm going to do is close this, and I'm going to open up PCMan.fm again. I'm going to log into the, or I want to log into the default configuration file. I just want to show you something. So let's show my hidden. Let's go back to config. Let's rename this to .save, and let's close it. Let's log out. Let's go in. I just want to log into the default one again. I forgot to show you this. So mod key enter is going to open up the terminal. Sorry about that. Let's do a fast fetch. So this is what I want to show you. So we're doing a fast fetch. Sorry about the bright white screen. Window manager is LG3D. And the reason why is let's do, now, like I said, I have an alias to get into the configuration file. Let's do Qtile config. And let's go to the bottom. You can see the number 227 or the last line. It says window manager name equals LG3D. And I think that's some type of weird joke that I don't understand. It explains it, but I still don't understand it. The Qtile window manager developers put that there. I don't get it. So let's close it. Let's clear the screen. Let's do fast fetch. So you see that's what shows up there. Window manager is LG3D. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to go back to PCMan.fm. I'm going to go into .config. I'm going to delete this, move it to trash. Sorry, I forgot to show you that before. Let's rename it. Let's just take out the .save. Let's save it. Now I could restart it. My auto start apps won't work. So let's just get right out. Let's shut down. Type in startx. Oops, got to type it right. Now let's open up my terminal. Let's do Qtile config. Let's go to the bottom. So see, I changed it, the very last line. Set menu. So line 334, I changed it to Qtile. So let's get out of there and let's do fast fetch. So now you can see my window manager is Qtile. I don't know why and it's like that regardless of whether you're using Qtile and Debian or Arch Linux. It's like that. Anyways, it's really a minor thing, right? Let's close that. So I have Keybindings in here. So line 82. Mod key B is going to open the Brave browser, but I don't have the Brave browser installed in this Debian machine, but I leave it in there anyways. So line 84, mod key F, you can see it's going to open up Firefox. Line 86, mod key E, Thunderbird email application, but I don't have Thunderbird installed in the system. Line 88, mod key control T will open up Tor browser, but I don't have Tor browser installed. Line 88, mod key control T will open up Tor browser, but I don't have that installed. And line 90, 92, and 94 are turned off. They're commented out. Mod key control V will open up Vert Manager, but I don't have Vert Manager installed in here either. So when I made this Debian install on Monday, like today is Friday, when I made this Debian install on Monday, I did a minimal Debian install, right? So I didn't install that many apps. But these are there, and I made all these. These do not come in by default. I made these. So if you don't want them, any of these lines, you can delete them, or you can just put a hashtag there or a number sign there to comment them out. Mod key H will open up HTOP. So we're going to open up another workspace. Let's just go to workspace 5. Mod key H opens up HTOP. Look at that. Running at 291 megabytes of RAM. Not bad, eh? Let's quit out of there. Let's do mod key 1. Mod key G will open up GIMP, but I don't have GIMP installed. And line 102 and 104 are commented out. Mod key C will open up GNOME Calculator. Mod key Control P will open up PCMan.fm. If you have GNOME Clocks installed, mod key Control C will open up GNOME Clocks. If you have only Office installed, which I don't here, mod key Control O will open up only Office. If you want, you can change that to you have LibreOffice installed. just change what's in the quotes to LibreOffice. A mod key K will open up Kden Live, but I don't have that installed either. Mod key S will open up GNOME System Monitor. Mod key O will open up OBS, but I don't have OBS installed. Mod key R will open up Ramina. So let's just go to Workspace. Mod key R opens up Ramina. Okay. Mod key C will close it. Let's go back to mod key 1. If you install Rhythmbox, just uncomment and activate line 124. Mod key R will open up Rhythmbox. Right now I have mod key R opening up Ramina. So you have to change to Ramina. You don't want to have conflict, right? Mod key Control D will open up GNOME disks, but I don't have that installed here. And mod key V will open up Celluloid. And I don't think I have that installed here either. So when I made, like I said, when I made this Debian install, I did a really basic Debian install. I didn't install a lot of apps. So these key bindings are there. They're not there by default. So you can use these. You can, if you don't want them, comment them out, or you can delete them. So now I'm going to go back to my main production machine. So now I'm back in my main production machine, the machine I'm doing all my recording in. So open up a terminal, do a Fastfetch. You can see I'm back in Arch Linux, my Dell Optiplex, and I'm running the Qtile window manager. And like I said, I have an alias to get into my Qtile configuration file, which will work for you only if you're using my Zesh configuration file, Qtile config. And I've come in here because this computer has 2 monitors, and I want to show you this. So on line 201, it says screens, and 203 is top bar. But the reason why I came in here is wallpaper. So now in this computer, my wallpapers are in a folder called wallpapers. And like I said, you have to be exact with it. So my folder is called wallpapers with a capital W. So you have to make sure wallpaper is with a capital W. If your folder has a small w, you have to type it in with a small w. And also, if you look at the wallpaper, artwork -nighthog period JPEG. So if you see the word alt word is capitalized, because that's the name of the file. So however the file is spelled with capitals, small letters, whatever, it has to be exactly the way it is for it to work. And that's this wallpaper right here, right? It's called Nighthawk. Now, if you go down to, let's scan down to screen number 2, and you know what I should do? I'm going to make a space. I'm going to type in, put a hashtag there, monitor 1. Okay. And I'm going to make another space. I'm going to type in hashtag monitor 2. How's that, eh? Let's save it. And now, like I told you, when you make a change in the configuration file, you either have to log out and back in, or control mod key R. That's better. So we see on line 231 from monitor 1, my wallpaper is Nighthawk. Monitor 2, on line 266, my wallpaper is City. So let's get out of here. We don't need to be back in there anymore. Let's close my terminal. So you can see this is Nighthawk. Now I'm going to show you my other monitor. So now I'm showing you what's on my other monitor. This is monitor 2. Okay. So this monitor 2 has this wallpaper, and monitor 1 has this wallpaper. So I turned off the camera for a minute to make some changes. So right now I'm in on my main Arch Linux computer. So I turned off the camera and went into an older configuration file for Qtile, one that I used to use before I made changes in the past week. And so this is not the default Qtile configuration file. This is the one that I've been using for the past few years off camera in my other computer. So for instance, if we open up 2 workspaces, well, let's open up 2 terminals. Let's go to workspace 5, for instance, and let's open up a terminal. Okay, so you can see there's no gaps, and you can see the have focus working, mouse focus, but there's no gaps, and you can see the border is red instead of orange. So in my latest configuration file, I have gaps, and the border is orange, right? And I only have 2 modes here. I have column and max. And now in my new configuration file, I have 4 modes working. Let's close that, let's close that, let's close that. Now, the main reason why I haven't lived in Qtile in my main production computer is because of my 2 monitors. So by default, and in my older configuration file for Qtile before last week, my 2 monitors were functioning like this. So right now I'm recording from my main monitor, and you can see I have my layout change right here. I have my 9 workspaces. and I have my volume control and I have my date and my clock. Now I'm going to turn on and record my other monitor, monitor 2. Okay, so now I'm recording monitor 2. Look, it's black. There's nothing there, okay? And you can see there's no wallpaper here. There's no status bar on top. There's no workspaces. There's no date and clock. Now, when it's like this, I could move an app there. So I'm going to open up Firefox on my main screen. So if you mod key F, it's going to open up Firefox. But you can't see it because Firefox is opened up on my main monitor and I'm recording monitor 2. But now I'm going to move Firefox to monitor 2. So now Firefox is on monitor 2. So I could use monitor 2 when I didn't have an app opened up on monitor 2. It's just a black screen. And even when I do have an app opened up on monitor 2, you can't see what workspace it's on, and you can't see the status bar, and you can't see the date and the clock or anything like that. You can't see the 9 workspaces or anything, but you can still use it. So I'm going to go back to, you can see now Firefox is closed, so monitor 2 would look like this if I have no apps opened at all. Or if my apps are opened on monitor 1, monitor 2 would look like this. So this is the reason why I never used Qtile as my daily driver for my main production computer, because my main production computer has 2 monitors and I'm recording. Now the 2 monitor situation will function like this the same way if you're using the default configuration file or if you're using my older Qtile configuration file. So like I said, in the past week, I made a lot of changes to my Qtile configuration file, and now I'm going to show you how it's working. So now I'm back into my most current or my new Qtile configuration file, and you can see, and I think I already showed you this, but I'm going to show you again. See, now I have gaps, and I have 4 modes: monad tall, max, columns, and monad wide, and back to monad tall. I think I already showed that, right? So you can see my main screen, and you can see workspace 9 is a bright white. And that's because I have OBS Studio opened up on workspace 9 on the other monitor. Now, if I click this, it's going to bring OBS Studio to my main monitor. So now OBS Studio is on my main monitor, and now I'm going to turn on monitor 2. So now you can see monitor 2. Well, let's go back to monitor 1. Well, let's stay here for a sec. So you can see on monitor 2, now you can see my status bar is there. It's showing we're on monad tall. You can see my 9 workspaces. You can see workspace 9 is bright white, and that's because I have OBS Studio opened on it. And of course, you can see my date and my clock. And you can see all my workspaces, all 9 workspaces. And you can see monitor 2 has a different wallpaper. So if I go to back to monitor 1, you can see monitor 1 has the wallpaper that I always use when I'm recording. And that's it. In this video, I showed you how to install and use Qtile in a Debian computer. I also showed you how to use Qtile in an Arch Linux computer. I showed you what the default Qtile configuration file looks like, and I fully explained how my configuration file for Qtile works, and I showed you how it works in Debian and in my Arch Linux computer. And then I showed you the difference between the default Qtile configuration file, the configuration file I'm using now for Qtile, which I've been working on for the past week, and my older configuration file for Qtile, which I was using for the past few years. And I also explained to you why I wasn't living in Qtile before in my main production computer, because I didn't like the way it was functioning with my 2 monitors, and especially for recording. And now I figured out how to make the Qtile configuration file work the way I want it to work with my 2 monitors, and especially for when I'm recording. So I'm really enjoying the Qtile window manager. I think it's going to be my daily driver for quite some time. And I explained to you why I wasn't using it as my daily driver before, because I didn't like the way it was functioning with both monitors. And I also explained how I have been using the Qtile window manager as a daily driver in an older computer that I have, because I have quite a few computers, in an older computer that I have, because in that computer has an old NVIDIA card and it crashes, but it doesn't crash when I'm running it on the Qtile window manager. So I think from now on, I'm going to be using the Qtile window manager for a long time. It's my daily driver, and how I love Qtile. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like it. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I am the Linux Mensch.